Using the Z Fold 6 has been so exciting, but let me explain why it's not my first choice for 2024. So first, let's take a quick tour around our device. You'll notice the Samsung branding on the flex hinge, which has been improved for this year. Down the right hand side, or when folded, you'll notice your power and volume buttons, which are tactily different, so they're easily to identify, a little nudge there to accessibility. And of course, you have your fingerprint sensor built into the power button, or you could choose to use a pin pattern password, or even give your device a quick cheeky smile as you've got face recognition. There are antenna bars, mics on the top and the bottom, and you have your SIM tray where you're able to add a mixture of dual nano SIMs or use eSIM if you wish. Unfortunately, there's no SD card support, which could have been easily occupied by one of the SIM card slots. Maybe the internal motherboard and chipsets won't allow for this option, so make sure to choose your size wisely when it comes to storage. You do have stereo speakers, which I thought sounded a little quieter to previous models when I've tested them in the past. But with the use of Samsung Galaxy Buds or other Bluetooth headphones, this isn't a problem. You will also notice a more square design, which has been tweaked from the previous models. It has also had a change in weight and thickness, going from 253 grams on the Fold 5 to 239 grams on the Fold 6. Even though this is a minor drop in weight, it is actually noticeable when it feels more comfortable in your hand for long periods of the day. So that might be either gaming, going through social media, or actually getting on with some work, because you're able to multitask so much with this device. It is a little skinnier too, going from 13.4 mils to 12.1 mil compared to the Fold 5. Well, the huge important thing with your device is of course its displays, and you have two here to choose from. First up is your cover display, which is a dynamic AMOLED 2X 120Hz refresh rate, 2600 nits peak brightness, and Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So that's on the cover display and the rear panel where you see your cameras. It's 6.3 inches in size with a resolution of 968 by 2376 with 410 pixels per inch. And then of course you are able to unfold your display and see that folded display, which is a dynamic AMOLED 2X display, 120Hz again, HDR10+, 2600 nits peak brightness also, but this is an incredible 7.6 inches, and this is the display that I use most of the time. Its resolution is 1856 by 2160, and that gives you 374 pixels per inch. A side note though, the 120Hz display is amazingly fast and responsive, but when it's not actually needed, Samsung utilizes a 24Hz option to save battery, so it even has the ability to use 1Hz to save even more power. So the displays are bright, they're very vibrant, they're beautiful to watch your content, they're great to look at photos. I've taken loads of photos with this when I was up in Liverpool, when I've been out with my guide dog Summer, and there's a couple of selfies in there as well. It's been just really enjoyable to watch content. As I've said, I've used more of the larger display than the cover display. One of the little things I don't like about this is I'm so worried about it. I still have that fear of breaking it so easily because it is a very new innovative product design. I know this is now the 6th variant of this device. I still am a little worried when using it. People always want to see it when I'm out and about because it is still a new foldable. The actual genre of foldable devices are improving. There's so many different companies having them being released now, which we'll take a look at a little bit later on in the year on the channel. So going back to power, as I've just spoke about there, managing to save when not using that 120Hz display, your battery on this foldable compared to others on the market, and even the S24 Ultra with its 5000 mAh battery, is smaller. So the Z Fold 6 being 4400 mAh, which can be charged at 25 watts, 15 watts wirelessly, and also that 4.5 watt reverse wireless charging. But does anyone actually use that? Please leave a comment down below. So if you use the cover display, your battery will last longer. But because I use the bigger 7.6 inch display, it isn't lasting as long for me as it would do for others. Also, I have it very bright as well for my vision, and also I have large text, so more of the display is being used at that time. But with this smartphone, you're able to go from 0 to 38% in 30 30 minutes and a full charge in roughly 1 hour and 41 minutes. But remember, there's no plug actually included in the box. So there hasn't been many changes from the previous generation to this generation through the iterations of the 6 variants now. But there is the improvement to the flex hinge from Samsung. It gives you the ability to hinge your screen to any angle you want to use it. So like a laptop, so you're able to fold the way you want to fold it. And with some apps that support a multi-view, such as YouTube, Ricky's Tech Talk, make sure to subscribe to him, you can actually see 2 different options when folding your display. Of course, with a folding device, you're going to notice that crease down the middle. So when you first get this device, it's really noticeable. It really hits you in the face. And again, you can feel this just rubbing your finger along and looking at your display, but it soon is forgotten. So when you're watching content or enjoying playing a game or flicking through social media or shopping online, you will see it time to time, but you will forget it's there. I'm sure as generations go on, and I'm sure Samsung will make further improvements and tweaks in the future. I know one improvement that people would like is the ability to use the S Pen on the cover display. So the S Pen is only supported on the larger display. It won't work on that cover display, which is really annoying to a lot of Samsung fans and even me. But one thing also Samsung fans and S Pen lovers would be annoyed about is that there isn't anywhere to store it. Again, compared to the Ultra, you have a place to store it, and I would say you need to buy an accessory, or you're going to leave this somewhere or lose it in your bag, but there's no place to store it on the Z Fold 6, which is highly annoying to fans and even frustrating as well, because the cost difference between the Ultra and the Fold, again, I know you're paying for R&D, you're paying for a new innovative product, but I would just wish there was a place to store your S Pen. But one thing with the cover display is that it could be a little wider. I know this has improved with the newer generations, but still awkward to use the keyboard or to see everything. So the keyboard can be slightly tweaked in settings to make it a little wider, or even you have the swipe to type option. You've got the voice option as well, but that cover display is getting wider, but just needs to be a little bit more wider. And even if you look at competitors, they are having a wider cover display, which more are jumping to and actually benefit from. Remember when I said that I was always worried about using my device? Well, looking at some reviews and making my own review and testing, one point of caution here is when you're using your larger display, remember it's still a flex display, and be careful with fingernails, as pressure used could cause and leave little marks on your display. So make sure to cut those nails and make sure to not press too hard, because there is a screen protector on there, but you don't want to damage your display permanently. And I would highly suggest in the setup video I've created, which I'll link below, there is a caution page to read about protecting your device and maintenance of your phone. So please make sure to take a read of that, and I will link in the information to Samsung's websites for care and responsible use of your device. So another star of this smartphone is of course its cameras, and let's switch around to the rear main cameras. So you have a 3 camera setup, the 50 megapixel f1.8, which is your wide, dual pixel phase detection autofocus and optical image stabilization. You have a 10 megapixel f2.4, this is your telephoto lens, phase detection autofocus, OIS again, and 3 times optical zoom. And then finally, you've got your 12 megapixel sensor with a field of view of 123 degrees and your ultra wide lens there, which gets everything in a shot. And as I'm talking through this, hopefully you're seeing some of the shots I've taken while reviewing this device. You've got HDR, you've got panorama, so many different options to choose in the camera. Also, one thing I noticed here was switch between the 12 megapixel and the 50 megapixel option, but this will change the level of zoom you have available. Of course, you've got the 8K at 30 frames per second, 4K at 60 frames per second, you've got 1080p all the way up to 240 frames per second, and it's a gyro EIS, so electronic image stabilization, HDR10 content. Your pictures will look absolutely beautiful, crisp, clean, really enjoyable during the day. When it comes to the night, there's a little bit more noise in images, which hopefully you'll see when I show them on screen. But some people say they prefer the S24 Ultra because it has that 200 megapixel main sensor. Switching round to your selfie cameras now, so you've got two options here. So you've got your 4 megapixel 1.8 aperture wide, that is under your display, and it uses technology to hide that when it's not in use. Again, this seems to be improved slightly. I don't think there's too much of a tweak from previous generations, but it seems to be a little bit more clear, not so grainy that I've seen in previous models. And again, it's very clever how the technology is used to actually hide that away when it's not in use. But of course, on your cover display, you've got your main 10 megapixel selfie camera. f2.2 in aperture, it's wide, and you've got 4K at 30 or 60 frames recording on that one. There's a gyro EIS. Even if you want to use 1080p, that's at 30 or 60 frames per second. Then speaking about power and performance, so your chipset is the same or right across the world for one of the first times I've ever known this. So it's the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, 4 nanometers in size with an 8-core CPU at variant speeds. Has a GPU from Adreno, which is 750 with 1 GHz of processing power, 12 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage. As I said, no SD card slot there, so highly annoying. Make sure you choose the right storage options for you, all the way up to 1 TB. Has an IP48 rating, so water resistant up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. And it has been improved for dust as well. I can remember the first and second generation, they said really be careful where you take it, even to the point of grain of sand could damage the hinge. That's all thanks to it being enhanced with a flex hinge and the enhanced armor aluminium frame, which means it can take on tougher drops, scratch resistance, and it does have a matte finish around it, which looks nicer, furthest to a shiny surface. So Samsung like to blend their One UI 6.1.1 in this case with Android 14, which makes your device feel fast, responsive, wherever you're either using the cover display, or I prefer to use the multitask option with 3 apps open at once. I can check my socials, look through emails, and maybe read the news, or most probably ponder what to buy next. I do like that multitasking option, so make sure to check that out. All you need to do is drag and drop apps and they auto jump into certain areas. You also have the ability to drop certain apps to create a widget window, which you can minimize into little bubbles that neatly tuck themselves to the edge of your device. And you also remember have that sidebar you can swipe out to see current apps in use or recent apps that you've used. Then remember with all of this that Samsung mentioned the introduction of Galaxy AI. So your AI features such as transcription, where you can transcribe voice notes and even summarize voice recordings, are great. So I make notes when reviewing, or I've put this into action when listening to another YouTuber, and it summarizes those notes for me. So you may have a long meeting that's over an hour long and you want a quick summary or action points, use the transcribe option from Galaxy AI and it's all there and you can remember what to do and you don't have to go back and ask your boss. Are you interested in knowing what something is? Have you always thought, oh, I wonder what that is, or where did they get that from? Well, Circle to Search feature allows you to search the entirety of Google and its search engine to find out what that product is. So this works quite well. So I've used it on controllers, I've used it on other smartphones, I've used it on like a textural thing like a cushion, and it will try to identify it for me, and you can circle to search and see what it is. Now I want to say as well, a quick side note here to the camera app. Inside there, you're able to use AI to easily erase stuff as well and shift stuff. Works incredibly well. You're also able to let your creative juices flow and sketch away with the S Pen. Remember, always on the larger display though. With the Galaxy AI, you can see your image magically change. So create a little drawing, press the AI option, and it automatically generates a change for you and show you your picture. If you have done this, let me know and leave a comment down below. I'd love to see the pictures. It'd be great. Plus, don't forget, there is Google Gemini also threaded throughout your device. You have to accept it to be used. But for me, I'm jumping into AI, using AI quite a lot to create my scripts, to create ideas. I'm enjoying using AI. I know there will be limitations or there'll be a paywall. We're testing it out and seeing how it goes. But if you're using AI, what do you think? So with the introductions of new smartphones that cost a lot of money, people are worried how long will they be supported. By having those 7 years of OS and security updates, this helps the environment from electronic waste. You're not just dumping and switching your device all the time. And it also helps helps your wallet. Compared to last year, the Z Fold 6 has had a price increase, which shocked a lot of people as it starts now at £1,799, which might push more people to look at the S24 Ultra, which begins at £1,249. With it having an improved camera, as I said, a 200 megapixel main sensor, the S Pen housing so you can store your S Pen, a larger battery with 5,000 milliamp hours. This is why I said this wouldn't be my first choice, because I would go for the S24 Ultra because I'm still scared about using that foldable display. I don't want to damage it. It's great having the 7.6 inch display, but I would choose the S24 Ultra. And I know that might shock a lot of people. Just think about it, what you're getting for the price as well. I know Samsung offer a great range of discounts and like trading options, so make sure to check the links in the video description. It has been a great device to use. Accessibility has been phenomenal with Samsung, but you get that on the S24 Ultra. You even get that on their A series of devices. But I'm going to leave on that note that I would choose the S24 Ultra over the Z Fold 6 at the moment. This may change with improvements coming up, and I wonder if they're going to have a Z Fold Premium or a Z Fold Ultra in the future. Let me know which device you would choose though, because it is great to read your comments and it helps people make their decision. I will add links to Vodafone, who kindly shared this review unit with me, plus a link to Samsung UK where you can even go and learn more. And of course there will be an Amazon UK link where if you use that link it will help support the channel, and I'm very grateful. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe, tap that notification bell to be updated when I share new videos. In the meantime, check out some of my latest videos over here to the left, and then over to the right you're going to see my wonderful face. Give that a click and subscribe today. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.